Golden.
Steve Caswell.
Michael O'Brien.
John Cutler.
Craig Smith.
If you would all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, the upcoming meetings, we have two meetings coming up, August 2nd and August 16th. Right now, I think both of those have at least one thing on them, right? So, okay. The next item is the approval of the minutes for meetings that were held June 7th and June 21st. I believe Jason was the only one who was not there. We'll stop for that. Lori G. is not here this evening, and John Eichman will be seated in her place. John, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, the minutes of the meetings held June 7th. Has everyone had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve them?
Yeah, but do we have a quorum for that?
I think, yes.
Were we all here for that?
Yes, we do. I checked beforehand.
Huh? I know I was here, but
Yeah.
I don't know who else was here.
The only person who was absent was Jason.
Was it? Okay.
So,
So moved.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those minutes are approved. June 21st, has everyone had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any comments or feedback? Again, I don't believe we have a quorum, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those minutes are
Awesome, we're
approved
up
as
to
well.
date.
We are up to date.
Wow, that never happens.
Wow, okay. Let's just savor that for a minute. Okay, no, the first item on the agenda is an extension for Stone Ridge. Mr. Day. Mr. Day, we don't have, how much of an
What's going
extension
on?
are you asking for?
6-7 years,
Okay.
the max, I would say.
What's,
Whatever you can give me is, I mean, right now, it's just that the market's not there, and John's having difficulty selling. So
Okay.
if it's a year, or whatever the max the board can allow.
okay, professionals, any objections to? Okay. Members of the board, any comments on a one-year extension?
1 year? You wanted 1 year? Okay.
No objections.
Motion?
I have no objections, no. Yeah.
Mark, we get
A year's a
lonely, and we'd like to
reasonable
see you in a year, okay?
We will be back.
There we go. Okay, do I have a motion for a one-year extension for Stone Ridge Commons site
So
plan?
moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Okay, the next item, Fishkill Plains Holdings. Mr. Gillespie.
Now we can get his. God, it's empty when there's no public forum. Got the right one.
Would you like me to put up the
Uh,
big screen?
I don't
I do have
I don't think we
a
need
big
that.
blow-up of the concentration of the site, so
That would be good.
That'd be good.
it's up to you.
If any of the folks in the audience want to get up and take a look there, please feel free.
Hearing.
So,
Good evening.
let you,
So, we're here tonight relative to basically an amendment to an existing site plan relative to Fishkill Plains Holdings. Fishkill Plains Holdings is actually my office. We're looking to extend or enlarge the footprint of the building, okay? Footprint-wise, approximately 1,000 square feet. So you're talking, it's a two-story extension, so you're talking about 1,000 square foot altogether. It's fairly straightforward relative to that aspect of it, but there is some history here. So there may be some board members here that were here that weren't here back when this was originally proposed, so if you can bear with me, I'd like to give a little bit of historical perspective, just to kind of put everything in line. I'll start with the next sheet. Thanks, Michelle. I assume everybody is somewhat familiar with the location, okay? We came in back in 2006, 2007, relative to, effectively, it was combined site plan. There are two pieces of property that sit right next to each other, okay? One is under the ownership of Fishkill Plains Holdings. One is under the ownership of 82-376 Realty Corp. We came in with a combined site plan that included not only the extension of Fishkill Plains Holdings, which is exactly the same footprint and extension of what you are going to see tonight, but in addition to that, there was a proposal to construct a 4,000 square foot, which is a footprint, building on the adjoining property, which is kind of across Ketty Corner from Blue Fountain and Van Wyck Junior High School. One of the reasons why they were combined is because of the size of the adjoining property, based upon the intended use, which was some restaurant and some additional uses. There was some combined parking issues, okay? The reality is in terms of Prestonwood Plaza, there wasn't enough property on that site to accommodate all the parking relative to what was proposed, okay? Full disclosure, I'm the owner of Fishkill Plains Holdings, and I have a vested interest in terms of partnership ownership with the adjoining property. So it was kind of an easy deal to work out those negotiations, I guess. So we went through and we received approval back in 2008, officially. I have a resolution of final site plan approval for Prestonwood Plaza / Fishkill Plains Holdings, a dated resolution signed March 5th of 2008. Okay? Approving this. Now, there were certain things that need to be taken care of, as there always is. There's issues in a resolution that need to be resolved. Some of those are resolved. Not all those are resolved. Again, it sounds, I'm sure, you guys have heard it for a number of years. We got the approval, and then things kind of 2008, things weren't so hot. Things kind of pushed off. So we extended the approval out as best we could. We never received the signed site plan, and I think that's important to note. We extended the approval. We extended the approval to the point where we really ran out of the timeframes that we could extend the approval.
Correct.
So we lost the approval.
Yeah.
So as it stands today, there is no formal approval related to either of these sites. Okay? So, fast forward, now we're here making a presentation relative to not Prestonwood Plaza, but Fishkill Plains Holdings exclusively. Okay? So we're looking for, we're peeling these apart, okay? And we're coming in exclusively, again, for Fishkill Plains Holdings. We did a full seeker analysis relative to the potential impacts, again, in 2008, relative to both sites, okay? For this proposal, we are not proposing to expand parking. Effectively, we've shown that we meet the parking requirements. I know there's some comments that we'll talk about relative to the traffic and planning consultant, town engineer, as there always seems to be. That's okay. Makes sense. What we're trying to do is we're looking to take Prestonwood off the table and come in just relative to Fishkill Plains Holdings. I need the room. I need the heads. Things seem to be getting better, and that's a good thing. So I need more room, and that's why we're in front of the board tonight. Okay.
Okay. By the way, we do believe in supporting our local businesses. So, with that said, okay, there were a couple of items. One, so the DEC, have you heard back from the DEC about getting the reapproval of the wetland delineation?
Okay. Site-specific, And again, some may be aware and some not. We do have a regulated DEC wetland on the backside of the site, okay? As part of the approval back in 2008 for Prestonwood/Fishkill Plains Holdings, we had to get that line delineated, and then obviously we showed the buffer. We have a validation block that was stamped and approved by DC back in April of 2000, April 7th of 2006. The DEC has changed their dates relative to, is it good for 5 years, is it good for 10 years, it used to be 2 years. This one was good for 10 years. Well, let's see, April 7th of 2006. So we sit here in July 19th.
Missed it by 3 months, big fella.
Right. So the deal is I have sent everything to DEC relative to revalidating this block. I will tell you that everything that we had proposed originally was outside not only the DEC wetland, but the buffer itself.
Right.
As part of the original Fishkill Plains Holdings proposal, we actually were required to install a fence on the buffer, which as a delineator. So that fence exists out there. If you look out there, it exists. It's a post and rail fence. Believe it or not, I've had to. Those don't last forever. So they have to be upgraded just from aesthetics and so forth. So just maybe in a point down the road that post and rail fence on delineate, they don't last forever. So anyway, so you asked a question.
Yes. I knew you'd get back.
As to whether we're there. I have sent everything out to Kelly at the DEC. She has it. She's responded. She was on vacation last week. I don't see any movement relative to this line. I haven't got a formal yes, we're okay. I am confident relative to the fact that the edge of this buffer that sits here runs along this line. It's really a ditch line. Then as you go past my site, it opens up into a larger wetland. I'm confident it's not going to change. The closest disturbance that we're proposing relative to this is 75 feet from the edge of the buffer. So I think I can go on record very clear that there will be no permitting relative to the DEC. I think we need to get that check. It needs to be brought up to date, needs to be made up to snuff. I absolutely understand that, but we don't have that as it stands here right now.
We're still looking at how quickly we can move along. That's.
And I appreciate that, but
we
things
need
need to be in check, so we have tried to push that, but, you know,
Okay.
that's where we're at.
And then that ties to the issue with the rail fence. Again, there was the handicapped access relative to the parking.
Okay. So what you have, we have to go to ARB as part of this. This is your initial presentation tonight. We have to go to ARB to get this approved relative to the elevations. The elevations you see down below now are basically the front and the rear, which kind of don't change. When you pass by this building, what you see is the sides. Because this building is so close to the property line, you see it, but you're kind of by it by the time you see it. So I'll call this north, south, east, west. This is the left side elevation. So as you're facing the building, this is to the left. This is if you were sitting at the intersection of Hillside Lake Road and 376, looking this way. So this is the existing building. This is the extension. Okay. When we had gone through with the Prestonwood/Fishkill Plains proposal, we had gotten the elevations approved. We actually have changed them a little bit. We actually added this gable end just to kind of try and conform a little bit better with what's there and took a look at some things. But at the end of the day, relative to handicap access, the parking lot is on the right-hand side of the building as you go by the building. This is the right side elevation. So you come around the parking area, and there's a main entrance in the front. Sorry. Which is what this represents. You come to the parking lot. This is an existing side entrance in terms of employee entrance to get to the rear. We are proposing in the back here another separate entrance, okay, relative to another office there. There's a Bilco door that sits in this back location here. All of the access points, okay, in terms of come from the parking lot and in terms of the available area here, it makes it very tight to get the handicap ramp in terms of the elevations. So what we are proposing, we need to provide handicap accessibility. We currently do, is to be able to grab this curb cut here. Again, the parking's not changed. We have an existing handicap spot there. Make your way down this concrete walk, and there is a little bit of distance. You have to work your way around the building, and we will talk maybe about some certain signage to make it sure that people understand where they need to go. But in terms of the best location, okay, we felt that, and after looking at this quite a couple different ways, was coming around the back of the building and working up the right-hand side, okay? This left side elevation shows this access way, because we need to define minimum pitches. There's about 3 or 4 steps to get to the first floor. It's elevated. So we thought it worked well with the architectural, okay? We need to provide handicap access. That makes sense. I will tell you that in terms of actual usage of that, it's been fairly limited, which we would suspect, okay?
Quick question, Mike, only one, the back of the building, is there a walkway there that will be kept shoveled and clear? So, like during the winter months, someone with a disability needed to go around the building, can they?
The answer would be yes. I mean, we typically maintain in the winter all of our sidewalks and so forth.
Okay. What about the municipal water hookup?
We are on an existing well.
Okay.
This property is actually within, Joe,
Yes, the
Joe?
water district.
This property is within the water district. So we haven't made that connection yet, but we're in the water district. So we're going to plan on tying into the water.
Okay. Joe, you good with that?
Make sense?
Well, he is definitely in the water district. It's just a matter of the town has a process of how they divvy out connections, and there's some details on backflow prevention and things that'll have to be looked at. But I know Mike's been asking for this probably since back in the 2006, 2008 timeframe.
We're in a district.
Okay,
We pay our big, not usage, but
Yes.
because we're in a district. Now it makes sense to connect to that district because of everything that's going on. We're not a big water producer.
all right. Just checking off the bullets here. And again, we have assurances that the parking easements between Prestonwood and will remain in place. Please, just say yes or no.
It's expired.
The parking easements are not in place as it exists today.
Right.
There is every absolute advantage, and for me to make sure that when Prestonwood makes its way through the door here of this board, which gets reviewed by this board, that those are in place. Otherwise, if I don't have the ability to provide the additional parking on the Fishkill Plains holding site, we're not going to be able to put maybe it'll limit the use of the building and limit the size of the building.
And so
Yeah.
just to reiterate, again, if Prestonwood comes in again, it will go before the board, and the board will have, at that point in time, the chance to review it and make sure that it has sufficient parking and has whatever connections you may or may not want them to have with this particular site. So at that point in time, you can review the application and determine what needs to be done. But right now, we're really just looking at this application, and nothing he is doing currently would preclude any of the connections that he had previously.
Let me rephrase that. It is still your intention.
Yes.
Okay. That said, are there any comments by the board members before we go to the professionals? Okay. David, comments?
No, not relative to the addition.
Okay.
I did point out the site distance issue.
I've been out there with a sickle myself. Let me tell you, it's brutal, but yes. It's a right-of-way, DOT right-of-way issue, but sometimes you gotta get dirty to make sure that you get out, so yes.
Michelle, I'm going to skip you for just a second if I may. Joe, any,
I just have a question with the buffer and the wetland. Did the easement, was there a conservation easement filed already on that back?
It was
Back
not.
when? It was not.
It was not. And as an integral part of this, as I provided on this plan, because there is, the position of the town currently relative to the board has been that if you have a wetland, you have a buffer, then you not only should delineate it, but you also should have a protective easement over that so that if it gets sold, somebody knows that you can't mess around it, right? So we had showed that as part of the original site plan, Fishkill Plains / Prestonwood. It was not required as part of the original Fishkill Plains, even going back before that, okay? That being said, I show an easement on here, okay? That will be part of this site plan to ensure that it's filed and it's a record.
okay, thank you. Good catch, Joe, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Any other points?
I guess just going back to the water hookup, I think that's more a question to be talking to Scott about the mechanics of how to achieve the water connection. But I will
Scott?
say you're in the district.
He'll be late, but he'll be late.
There is an existing water main that sits right in front of the property. It was installed as part of the expansion of it, and we show that on here. We show a connection in terms of graphically, the connection of this site to that main. The town of East Fishkill requires a connection permit. We'll have to adhere to all those requirements, that application, inspections, details, yes. If you would like that as part of this, and I'll talk to Scott, we'll make that part of this, that's fine.
Okay. Joe, anything else?
I don't think you're asking for fire flow, just domestic use, domestic water.
What was that?
Are you asking for fire flow? Or
No,
just?
we are
just-
not, based upon the size of the building, based upon their use, we're not required to provide for fire flow.
Okay.
Michelle, first of all, your comments, and then what is I'm sensing from the board, the most direct route for getting this through?
Well, in general, I feel this is a fairly minor, site plan amendment. It's a relatively small addition. I don't believe it will result in any significant adverse impacts. In fact, I think it would be safe to say we could type 2 this action, so there'd be no seeker required. There's no other permits from any other agencies that would require a coordinated review. There's no DOT approval. There's no DEC approval, assuming the validation line, it comes back as we suspect it will. I don't believe that they would ever move a DEC line 75 feet. So if it moves a few feet, that's possible, but I don't think it's ever going to move the distance that he has. So I'm pretty confident in saying that it's a minor site plan amendment, and it's a type 2 action as far as I'm concerned.
So for type 2, we do still require a public hearing?
Nope, the public hearing is required because of the site plan,
Okay.
not for the seeker.
Okay, so now you still need to go to the ARB.
Yes.
You still need the DEC. Michelle, keep me honest here. I mean, guys, you chime in too. I mean, do we want to push this out tonight, or do we need to come back after post-ARB? And is there any reason why we need to see this again?
Yes, because he has to do a public hearing.
Right, we don't need another discussion, we just need a
Wait,
public hearing.
he's just
We get a
moving forward
Public
now.
hearing is the next step unless
Correct.
something comes up.
And there's not the ability to support to waive a public hearing.
I guess technically, I think under a minor site plan amendment, if the board thinks it's agrees with me and thinks it's a minor site plan amendment, they could waive a public hearing.
Okay.
When are you meeting with the ARB? No?
Well,
You kind of already did, right? At least.
no, well, I did back in
Originally,
in the
okay.
day, but what happens is there's a procedure by which we have to come to this board and we have to make a presentation. And then we get referred to the ARB.
Right, but I
tried to
thought-
play that,
Right. Right.
another way before, and that didn't work out. So we are planning on being before the ARB in 2 weeks, first week in August.
So you should refer him to the ARB.
Okay.
If the board was comfortable with it, yes, we have to get ARB approval. If the board was willing to waive the public hearing, I know that on some minor site plan amendments, there's an extension of the building here, so there's some action, okay? I would prefer at least coming back before this board and making sure that there's a formal resolution of approval that's drafted.
I think you should come back one more time before the
Rather,
board.
so there's a
and-
record, and
Absolutely.
there's bullet points that we need to get through. That way, the record is clear.
And we
that's-
can make sure that
doesn't-
you've got your approval from DEC.
And that'll give us time to get that in check, and that doesn't hold anything up.
Okay, warning. There are 4 public hearings on the next meeting, so you're probably talking a month.
He can't come to the next meeting anyway, because I don't think you'll make the advertising requirements for the next meeting.
Well, if we're waiving the public hearing, then we won't have to worry about that, right?
Well, you still would have to do an ARB public hearing at the same time, and I don't know how I don't know if they would waive it. That's the problem. I don't know if we can waive the ARB public hearing technically.
I,
If he meets with the ARB the first Thursday in August, they could,
They could waive it, yeah, okay.
and then come in here. Sending the fire advisory board to work through occupancy question.
the ARB doesn't schedule a public hearing, they ride on the public hearing.
Right, but you're supposed to show your elevations at a public hearing here for the ARB.
Is he gonna go
That's the
for-
thing, and I don't know, and you've gotten no indication from that at all, other than the original time when you went with the addition. And the only thing you've done that's different is put a gable in?
Right, well, 2 things. We've changed the gable end a little bit, and we've actually gone back to the color that the building is now. We're actually changing the color to a different color, blue before, and now we're going back to what's out there now, so. I don't want to usurp anything, but the
Okay.
idea would be is that if there was, the board could waive the public hearing, and again, if that's
Okay,
not.
oh, hold on, we're going to give you that decision, but great catch by Teresa. The FAB wanted to know, is there going to be any occupancy on the 3rd floor?
No.
Okay. And
Strictly
also,
used for
you saw the
storage?
thing that they want, I'm sorry?
No, I was just asking, storage?
For storage?
Wow.
No, 0,
My chair
nothing.
broke.
What?
There's the 3rd floor, it's a 2.5-story building, so the 1st floor is occupied, the 2nd floor is occupied, the 5th floor is the attic.
Oh.
So it's only space for me to put up my Christmas wreaths when I hang out the windows, you know,
Okay,
in December.
okay. Also, the FAB monitored fire alarm system in the building?
So it exists, and the proposed building will carry that.
Okay, so let me poll the board. Comments about whether or not to have a public hearing? How do you feel, waiving the public hearing?
The fact that the color's changing and the design is changing, don't we think the neighbors need a chance to say something? I
Well,
don't know.
They do under the
ARB,
ARB,
Okay.
right, public hearing.
Yeah, I don't think we
Well,
have any major
there's not going
issues
to,
here.
this board holds the hearing
Right.
for the ARB.
Oh,
So if
gotcha.
they don't have a
Okay.
public hearing here, you won't have that, no one would have that opportunity to comment on the
okay.
architectural.
Okay.
Right.
John, what do you think?
I'd be in favor of waiving the public hearing.
Steve?
But if we're going to have an ARB public hearing, and it's a combined
You
one,
don't,
We don't
you won't
have
only
to
have
have
it,
one.
you
But
wouldn't
it
have
would
to
be
have
a
it.
good idea if we did.
I mean, it's entirely up to you. It's your decision whether or not to waive it. It's just that it's,
What do you think? Yeah.
I'm
I
just thinking
agree.
if there's a potential for having one,
I agree.
why lose the opportunity for the
Right.
neighbors to say anything?
Yeah,
I think we should
agree.
have it.
I agree.
Okay.
I mean, I would hope that it would go quickly,
Yeah.
because it does look minor.
Yeah, because it seems very minor.
Okay. You all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think what they
why
can
don't
do
we-
is, you could wait, it's possible. I'm just thinking if you don't, when's the next meeting that
September.
he can be on?
I think looking at the timeframes, I think it's really the first meeting in September.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's reality.
Yeah.
Because you'll have all
And
the
you,
approvals
the
by
color change, that's an interesting point. I mean, how much, because I look at it and I'm thinking that's the same color as it is today.
That's the same color as you see today. The proposal was actually to change the entire
Oh,
facade of the
okay.
building to a blue.
Okay?
back with them.
Okay,
That's not the proposal today.
so, I mean,
So there is no color change.
okay, I
That's a big change.
respect my board, okay. So, all in favor of scheduling a public hearing on
September
September 5th?
5th?
September
September 6th,
6th.
okay. All in favor? I'm sorry,
Second.
Oh.
At first, the motion?
a motion. Do I have a motion to schedule this for a public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. What am I else am I forgetting? We're good? Okay.
Do we need to
So-
refer to the ARB?
Yes, I mean, you've been referred to the ARB.
Right, and we'll take care of that in terms of beginning of August.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
okay. Let me ask a question. I mean, when did you want to break ground on this project?
Well, I guess that's what happens is, that's, the public hearing makes sense, and that's beginning of September. It's what happens after that, because I don't suspect there'll be a whole lot of opposition here, presumptively.
No, right.
So then what happens is it becomes September, and then being able to schedule that resolution of approval, which usually is at least 2 weeks
Well,
after that.
I think sometimes you can close a public hearing and approve it on the same night.
I guess
Yeah,
if there would be the
I'd like to do that.
possibility of being able to maybe have that draft in place at the time, that would help.
I think.
It
I
is
think
the
that's a
the
possibility.
board's desire that we move you,
Quickly.
Yeah, if we can do
Hearing
the resolution with, if we get nothing significant out of the public hearing, I think we can have the resolution ready.
if you were, I'll be honest with you, if you were going from white to vibrant blue, I think that would be more problematic than going from vibrant blue to basic white, I think.
We're
So
going white,
I'm
white.
confident about that public hearing.
Right,
Okay.
right. Okay,
Any other comments on this? Thank you.
great, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is the Huffline ASP, AKA Lawrence Auto Sales Site Plan, Route 52. Okay. How you doing?
Good. So as you know, I'm looking for an approval to park more vehicles. in
Define
lot.
more.
6 or 7, 7. 7 is to propose amount.
7 show vehicles.
Yes.
Okay, couple things. One is the last approval was 4 show, 1 customer, 1 sales. And
Customer, 1
and
sales.
there's a little more than that there now. Plus, there was the proviso that the building was going to be just offices. And there's actually a car in there, right? It's a showroom.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a showroom. I realize it's not a big showroom.
No, it's
It's not like the car is spinning or anything like that, but there is a car in there.
Yeah.
So as I understand it, you're going to close off the East Hook Crossroad, and you want to put now 7 show sites.
Just-
So, let me ask a question, I mean, and I'm sorry, I'm doing all the
okay.
talking here. Where would the customers park? Where would the salespeople park?
I proposed, do you have the drawings? The site plan amendment?
yeah.
The revised site plan?
Yeah, but I
The
mean,
whole front row of Route 52, the State Road, would be cards on display.
okay,
On the back side, next to the building, on the east end, there's 2 spots that I marked for customer and handicap. And then I, the employee, or if my significant other or somebody is there, can have room to park on the west end, next to that garage door that you just
Okay.
mentioned. And it works. It all fits, there's room, and I spoke to an engineer from the state. The site distances are fine on the highway. The setback, as long as I'm 3 feet from the curb site, which they're lined up correctly now, that there's, it's not infringing on the state property. The only suggestion he had was to either make that one-way or close off Hook Road entrance completely because of the site distance of pulling out and somebody rounding the turn,
okay.
which I could very easily use in and out right on 52 across from Stephen Amedola's entrance also.
Any comments from the board members before? Okay. One of the other things that I was thinking about last time was, and it's even more so, because back when last we spoke, the store was open. Now that store is closed,
Yeah.
and there's that huge parking lot. I mean, tractor trailers used to pull in and out of, right there. I mean, even a temporary easement for employee parking, plus your sales are all still by appointment, right?
Yeah, I mean, some occasional
So-
people stop in.
So if you told
but-
people, hey, why don't you park around the back and then walk,
Yeah.
that would certainly, because again,
Oh, so you're going to allow me 10 cars then?
no, actually, I get the feeling if I gave you 7, you might do 10, but.
No, I won't.
Okay, comments?
I mean, if that's an option, that's definitely something to consider. Would make it easier.
Yeah, but what happens when the Scanlons sell the store and that, I mean, I can use it because I know them and I'm sure they wouldn't have a problem with it, but
Right.
there's, I wouldn't leave stuff overnight over there either because there's a security issue back there, so.
But it is, it's just
Probably, yeah.
the getting into the if you're doing it by appointment, and it gets away from the whole thing that, because I understand, it's not like it's a convenience store and all 7 cars are pulling in and out constantly. They sit there, they're on display. I get that. So you're asking for 7?
7 display vehicles.
7 display vehicles with 2 customer and,
The language already says 2 customer, one employee, but I'll have room for 2, so, yeah.
okay. 'Cause again, we do like to support businesses in the town. Professionals, comments?
I mean, I think as long as he's abiding, but with what DOT is asking him to do, then there's no site distance issue. I think it's up to the board, whatever they choose.
Let me ask a question. When, the DOT stuff, when will that be done?
Do I have to make it official? I don't know. I don't know if I have to make it official. I conversed with the engineer. He came to the site. He conversed with my engineer when they drew up the site plan, and, I mean,
Right,
you
but
might, do I have to request CEQA or any of that stuff, or do you
no,
have
I
to do
mean,
it, or how's that work?
I guess you just have to get
A letter from him?
no,
From Al?
is it, it's not closed, though. I mean, I
It's
looked at it.
not closed, no. It's open right now,
Right.
and I didn't know,
What
was
was I forgot, guys, keep me honest here. What
thought-
was the,
I thought DOT stipulated that they had to close the entrance on Hook Road.
right. So how does that that's got to be a curb put in? Pardon?
As he's showing here, he's showing, I guess, just grass,
yeah,
seeding.
to continue the curbing the way the,
My suggestion is that there be some kind of positive stop there, either the concrete bumpers that you're
Yeah.
using for the cars,
that's what
or
we spoke about, yeah.
wooden ties, or something, just to
Yeah, I think
physically demarcate.
three bumpers would close that off completely. I could do that in a day, so.
Okay. So why don't we tie putting 7 cars there to that? Once you've done that,
All right?
all right? Any other, help keep me honest, guys, I'm having a senior moment here. The other DOT requests.
The site distance issue is, the way the vehicles are parked, I just like to add that the present demarcation and configuration of parking is as per your submission here.
Right.
And the site distances are not obscured
Okay,
currently.
so that's, you've complied with that, okay. What about the showroom? I mean, do we,
Well, the other 2 things I see is on-site circulation is the issue for customer vehicles. But if they're going to park in the back, it's less of an issue.
right.
And the other thing was signage, had to be updated.
Well, the signage is still the thing on the building, right? The original sign that went up on the building.
Yeah. Oh, that signage,
Is there any other signage?
No,
That I didn't notice.
the only signage on the building is I have permits for. I have one on the side on the west end of the building, and I have one on the front, illuminated sign in the front.
But both attached to the building.
That was all approved, yeah.
And on the
I think
side,
she meant my signage for in and out of the parking lot? Is that what you meant?
It says proposed signage, sign details should be updated to reflect intended deployment and the site plan revised to indicate proposed sign locations.
Just for clarification, you're showing some one-way signs here and
Yeah,
a
that
stop
was
sign.
from the
That's-
original site plan before I chose to close that off, to make it just one way, so,
So the comment was just, clarify, either remove the signs or show where they're going to be used.
the only other sign I was thinking about is putting at the real entrance to 52, that there was no exit, that, a lot of people like to cut through there. They just, zip through there, and then all of a sudden, it's going to be closed, and
Okay,
no exit.
No
That's
exit.
probably the only other sign I'll put up.
And by the way, the relative to Teresa's point about circulation on the site, the absolute no-no is nobody can back out onto 52. There has to
Okay.
be sufficient radius.
Spin
that
around.
People are turned around and they're not backing out onto 52.
Okay.
Because all bets are off when that happens,
I got it.
okay?
I'm probably the only one that would have the nerve to do that, but I'll make sure it doesn't happen.
Okay. So do I have a motion for 7 sites, 7 show vehicles,
Show vehicles.
plus grandfathering, I don't even like to say grandfathering in the one that's in the building. So it's 7 and 1 plus 1 and 1, so it's 7 show external, 1 show internal, 1 customer, and
Mike.
1 sales.
Scott?
2 customer.
I just want to have a question before we get much further, and that is, my question is, if you have vehicles picked up or dropped off, say, by a flatbed, have we demonstrated, or have you demonstrated that you can turn that vehicle around and pull back out with that access onto West Hook closed, or Hook Road closed?
I never tried it. I mean, it probably could be done. There's probably enough room to turn a flatbed around.
So I just think that should be a condition.
Okay.
And he can physically demonstrate it, that's fine. If he doesn't want to do the turning radiuses, I think we could physically witness it, but inevitably, you're going to have that kind of vehicle in there.
Okay. Now, are you planning on striping this site? Okay. Can we ask that David take a look at it with, we'll approve the numbers, but with the conditions being the adequate circulation and some kind of a flatbed arrangement that they can, or you just make provisos that they drop the
What
car
if they unload the car at
someplace.
the general store?
Right,
What if the general store gets sold? You're right back to your point.
Yeah.
right.
I rarely have a flatbed picking up or dropping off. The cars they're done. They're not in need of repair or anything. They're clean.
What I
and-
think typical in car sales is transport of automobiles, which typically takes place on flatbed.
But are they all licensed such that they
I
could be
I drive them in and
driven
out.
in and out?
I have dealer
Or
plates.
you have dealer plates,
Yeah, dealer
okay.
plates. I drive them in and out. I don't really.
I think it's like a tractor trailer never going to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I don't
it's
hire
just
car
like-
carriers. I'm not a.
Got it.
I have
That was a dog whistle.
one comment. The one employee space is also shown as a handicap space. Is that the way it's striped, or how do you allow for?
It shows customer handicap space, and I'm using the west side of the building for employee spots.
Well, the plan is showing the
one shows that?
designated employee space being the handicap space also, but on the west side.
So that's currently designated as a 10-minute parking.
Yeah, that's what I have there.
Right
So-
now,
Because that's my parking
what it
spot, and I didn't want people to pull in there and leave something there. On the east side of the building is marked handicap and customer parking, and there's 2 spots next to each other.
Okay. I guess we should have them adjust the plan then for that.
Oh, you put customer there. That's the east end of the building, that says customer. We might be looking at different, you guys looking at the original site plan? No.
One of these.
Saying employee, and
That's
then it has a
employee, yeah, that's the
handicap,
west side of the
that's
building.
showing a
This is the east
handicap
side.
symbol there, though.
All right, that's the mistake on the handicap.
Yeah.
Because that handicap sign's
That's
over
it.
here.
Okay.
Just revise the plan to show that.
And
Okay.
clean up the signs,
Any other
If you're not
comments?
using them, don't show them.
Any other comments from the professionals? So let me paraphrase what we're approving here. We're going to 1 internal show spot, 7 external show spots, 1 customer, 1 sales agent, on-site, conditioned to David's approval that there is adequate circulation, including potential for flatbed circulation, which, by the way,
In there.
could hinge on any kind of formal arrangement you have with a neighbor, addressing the handicapped issue.
The sign,
Pardon?
the
Yes.
plan, fixing the
plan.
plan.
So,
Did we not discuss two customer, or you just said 1? I have 2.
It's 2, because
Two.
one handicap.
It's already,
was,
it's already 2 now.
Okay.
It's already
How many
officially
is it
2 with
altogether?
1 employee.
so it's
10 external and 1 inside the
10?
building.
10 external and 1
10
in the building.
external, okay.
And we just want to also make sure that you're not doing any car repairs at all. It's
No.
just sales completely, so that should be a condition as well, because that's what
It's a
makes
re-
it a use that's allowed, a permitted use that's allowed.
No car repair.
Okay.
And all starts with David's approval that, and
That I can turn a
2,
truck in there?
that that there's adequate circulation, that we're not, that, David, you understand, we're just concerned about the potential that somebody can't turn around and they're going to back out on 52. That's the big no-no here, all right?
So you're going
And
to
the
come
other
and see
condition
me
is the
with
closure
flatbed there?
of the Hook Road.
Pardon?
Isn't it the
Yes,
other condition?
upon closure of the East Hook Cross Road. So, one more time, we're approving 10 external, 1 internal, contingent upon David's approval that there is adequate circulation, as in terms of that nobody's going to back out onto 52, that the handicapped issue will be addressed, contingent upon the closing of the East Hook Cross Road. Do I have a motion to,
So moved.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
We got no goats.
Okay, we have a walk-on item.
Oh, that's Brother Walker.
This one, I believe, is, I'm not even sure what the name of it is. It's the
Hopewell Wine and Spirits.
Hopewell Wine and Spirits. Okay, welcome.
I'm sorry, Hudson Valley Wine and Spirits.
I'm sorry?
Hudson Valley Wine and
I was
Spirits.
going to say,
Okay.
because there is a Hopewell one in it.
It's not like I was the attorney who opened the corporation or anything. Good
Okay.
evening, how are you?
Evening.
Mr. O'Brien, this is, my name is Mayor Fakuri. I'm the owner of the property, 136 Clove Branch in 82.
Okay.
And my brother, Mark Fakuri, is the president of Hudson Valley Wine and Spirits. We are here tonight, initially, we went and filed a build-out permit with this town. During the process, we were adding a window to uniform the building, because there's one window on the left, so we wanted to add a window to the right. So we got referred to the ARB. We went to the ARB, we had a meeting, they gave us some suggestions, which we complied with. We amended our so-called blueprints plans, and on the next meeting, we were told that we have to come before you today.
Can I just take a step back and explain? So what happened was they came in, the original store that was there was an awning shop, and this is obviously a liquor store that's going in. So they were sent down initially to the building department for a fit-up permit because it wasn't identified as a change of use, but on.
It's an as-of-right use, but it is a change.
Yeah, it's a permitted use, but it's a change in use largely because of the parking requirement, and the type of use is different, and the use of the site is different. So it was flagged by the building department for potential planning issues, and it had gone to the ARB, and I think the ARB had made a few comments, and you're doing some facade improvements.
Yes.
And, which I think the ARB has signed off on.
Yes.
And they also had noted that there were two garbage dumpsters that they wanted enclosed, because they didn't like the way it looked right off the street. So we took a look at the site, and basically it has exactly technically the correct number of spaces. However, the way the driveway is configured, it's an older kind of non-conforming site. There's no channelization to the driveway, and people can kind of pull in and out. And
I don't think you're factoring in fire zone, unloading, and things of that nature. as well.
Correct. So there's things that, obviously
Handicap parking.
were never considered before. Plus, there's a residential unit above where the liquor store is going. So there were just some issues that we felt needed to be cleaned up as a result of this application, because it hasn't been before the board in a very long time to look at the site and all the overall site conditions, and, including the circulation, fire, how people pull in and out, how people get out of their cars and walk, and all that kind of stuff. So, and there's no handicap space either.
Okay.
And I think we all know a holiday season's how busy a liquor store can be, so
Okay.
hopefully it will be, but we just want to make sure it's safe for everybody.
Well, depending how it goes tonight, I might be their number one customer, so we'll see.
Okay.
And even with the garbage enclosure, some thought should be given as to what the correct location of
Sure.
that should be.
And there is striping there, but they're faded. And I know I met with Scott, and we had a team of people before I bought the building about a year ago, and I think we discussed that. There's some striping there, there's some cement, little barriers for parking, but it definitely needs, my ultimate plan was to reseal it anyway, seal the driveway, fix the potholes, and restripe the current location. So they're there, they're faded, you could see them, but, of course, we wanted to clean the site. Well, my goal as the owner, he's only the president of the wine and spirits. He has nothing to do with the location or the property. I own the property. But my goal long-term was to clean it, landscape it, and, make it look more presentable. The dumpsters are not ours.
You don't look like you're happy with your landlord.
Oh, no, my brother, I gotta be happy for me, free attorney, so.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about what we're going to try to do here tonight is
Yes.
to move you along and say,
Thank you.
okay, conditional approval, go ahead, but let's talk about
Well,
some
we,
time.
just as an aside, we're, technically, I think what we're gonna try to do is just to follow the right process.
Right.
Is that if the planning board agrees, this would be if they agree that it could be treated as a minor site plan amendment, and that they could deal with the building department on any conditions that the building department may like to impose, that could be perhaps one route this application could go. Obviously, basically, it's a change of use, okay? So change of use opens up a site plan, essentially, right, for a site plan amendment.
Right.
And the question is, are they minor enough changes that it doesn't have to go through a full site plan process, and you feel comfortable sending it to the building department to deal with, and with the conditions that you're gonna impose tonight?
Thank you. That's kind of what
But
My
again, I
attorney
just
folks.
want to caution, we want to be not too extensive in the discretionary duties of the building department.
Correct.
As far as the location, as far as where the unloading should be, that should be discussed here.
Discussed tonight.
And again, I'm willing to, in the interest of moving this along, because we are on a deadline, because when we first started, we waited almost a month to hear from the building department, and I'm sure they're very busy, and then we had to wait to get to the ARB, which we got on pretty quick, but then we had to wait another month. So I think it's a 6-month.
Your deadline is November, right?
For your liquor license, you're not gonna, this is not gonna expire until November. You have
I think,
from 5/2/2016, so you have 6 months from that date.
6 months from that date, and then my brother's contractor needs, according to him, even though it's a simple build out with just shelves and flooring, we're not doing anything crazy. He's so backed up because of the summer, he said he needs a couple months, so we're cutting it close, and we kind of want to get him in there, get a soft opening, and we're doing a theme, wine and spirits. This is going to be a farm theme, so it's going to be a very unique, nice, clean up the site. It's been empty for a while, and the old owner was Dr. Salem. He's also related to us, and he had trouble trying to rent the location. So we came up with this theme, wine and spirits, and so we kind of want to get it open a little before the busy season, like a soft opening. So hopefully if nothing goes wrong, and so that's the kind of deadlines we're kind of facing.
And can I ask you a question? You own this property as well,
Yeah,
correct?
the grass part is, yeah.
Is yours.
Sorry, Michelle, what are
So
you
in the
pointing to?
event, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this aerial of the site, and there's a large lawn area here. So in the event that we have a parking issue there, the applicant does have room to provide additional spaces if needed.
And the dumpsters are not,
We could bank
We
X
could,
parking
we could
spaces.
ask him to bank a certain number of spaces in the event it's
As
needed.
I started to say before, we're going to try to move you along, but we're
Thank
going to
you.
come up with a list of things. And I'd like to be rather specific, so that we're not sitting here in 6 months saying, that's not how I
What I
interpret
told you to
that,
do.
right?
of course.
Da-da-da.
No.
So,
I was gonna rattle off.
When you get deliveries to the store, or where would,
I
what,
worked for a few months as training at a liquor store. Where was it?
Cold Spring.
In Cold Spring, and another one out in Arlington. You know, just part-time here and there. The deliveries don't come in big trucks, triax.
It's a small, the square footage is about,
Like a cargo van almost, they come in.
it's like
So
1,200.
you're not ordering like Arlington Liquor.
But again, it's not just for your liquor, it's for you, it's for the deli.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, the deli has the side and the front,
But I
yeah.
mean, so we want to look at it, we don't need 2 unloading zones, but we certainly need one
Yeah.
that works for both.
Yeah, and
And
you know,
the
just,
truck's a little bigger.
yeah.
The deli
Right.
trucks, yeah.
clearly, you need a site plan for the
yes.
circulation, right? And including on Clove Branch, there's that wide open dirt, that cars can leave through multiple channels. We need some kind of channeling of traffic, right? So let me ask a question. The driveway in front that parallels 82, that's going to stay open?
You know, again, the deli owner, that's really, I can't, given his lease and what's going on the site, I just want to clarify something. Those 2 dumpsters are for the deli.
Okay.
We're not, the way this business works is 100% recyclable of the boxes. So the boxes come in, 90% of the boxes are on the actual retail floor, then they have like some stuff on top, and any boxes not used, they break it down, and the weekly deliveries, they take the empty boxes. So,
We use them in the bags.
so we're not, it's 100% no dumpster, we're not using any dumpsters or anything. So really the dumpster, the delis, will enclose it for him, I'm sure he's not gonna say anything, since if I have to pay for it. The front, I can't, he uses it for the deli purposes of coming in and out. I don't know if that would even address the front. Although during the ARB, I proposed to clean up the front because there's some chipping paint.
Right.
Again, I'm gonna pay for it. I'm not gonna ask the deli owner to pay for it. So we're gonna power wash it, paint it, match the building, clean it up, do some landscaping. So I can't, in full honesty, tell this board, yeah, we're gonna adjust the front because really it's not in our, there's a lease with a current deli owner and I can't just go ahead and, I don't know.
But do you owe him spaces right there or just on the site?
Well, he's got the front for his customers that come in and out, and then he's got the side where he parks, I think, his car. Yeah, and then he's got,
Because in my own mind, I'm not clear if that's supposed to be for parking, or that's supposed to be for deliveries, or that's supposed to be for.
I think he
what
uses it
exactly?
mostly for deliveries and people coming in and out, and he's got on the side where he parks his car. So really, the front, and obviously, he could use any of the part of the location, it's not going to be we're not gonna limit him, say you can't park here, we're not gonna park
Right,
there.
right,
It's pretty much for everybody.
And just for the board's clarification, this site, there's no existing site plan for this site because it's old. So there's nothing, which is part of the issue here, that we've got nothing.
So like,
We need to create
My-
a site plan.
my conditions would be, okay, within 6 months, we've got a site plan, and the circulation is, David is nodding his head like a bobblehead doll about,
Yeah,
one thing is, cars trying to come around the building and go through that thing, or just some kind of circulation plan, channeling the traffic.
Yes.
So that it's not, crazy type of, okay? And again, Dave, we trust David's judgment. If you don't trust him, you can come back here and talk to us about it, but
Yeah,
right
he-
now,
he seems like
he's
he's a
gonna be
very
our
nice
guy
guy.
here. And the cosmetic improvements that the ARB is talking about,
yes.
circulation, what else am I forgetting, guys? Come on.
The
Okay, so
dumpsters.
Dumpsters?
Enclosing the dumpsters, providing the correct handicap parking. I guess what we should start with is we need a site plan for the site that shows all of these things.
Yeah,
So-
within 6 months.
So we would need to show proper site circulation, and we would need to have some indication of where deliveries are going to come in and how you're
Okay.
going to handle deliveries and fire, but we need to know that, we need to understand that tonight as well, okay? So-
Sure.
Let's just stop right here for a minute. 6 months from now puts us into approaching Thanksgiving. And then he has to submit, we have to review if we want to make comment. I mean, if there's any substantial improvements like pavement, et cetera,
Okay.
it won't get done until next spring. Meanwhile, this thing's open for the holidays. So I don't think 6 months is the timeline that we should be looking at for
Maybe 3
this gentleman
months.
to supply
But-
plans. Let me also add that I realize you're on a timeline. Maybe we can consider giving him limited use of the space for his liquor store so he can comply with his license requirement. And maybe, 50% of the space he can go ahead and occupy or stock or limit the occupancy to 5 people or something like that
Okay.
until he gets where he needs to be. But I don't
Okay.
think waiting 6 months. for
That's kind of
Dawn-
the arrangement I was hunting for.
Can I make
yeah.
a suggestion? And again, Scott could correct me. I'm willing to, if you want, I can meet with you and Dave initially, if it's okay through the building department, because I want to reseal it, restripe it. If you could indicate, seal it,
We're
stripe.
not going to indicate, I think that's this board's
The
going
board's-
to look
okay.
at the best place for
We
the
can
unloading,
indicate
the
that for you.
best place for the dumpster. That's really going to be under the board's purview.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we should probably consider some land bank parking in the event that we need to have additional parking spaces added to the site. You would just show it as on a
Yes.
site plan, you would just say, okay, we're setting aside this area on the site plan for potential future parking in the case we need it.
Yes.
And then the other thing I don't know if we're clear on is where your property, you should have a survey, and I don't know where the county right-of-way is.
Okay.
Because we, for instance, maybe all along cars may have been parking in that county right-of-way, which,
I think
we
we'd
should
like to
look
see it
at.
go, push some parking, additional parking out into that.
Out into the
that's
grassy
currently- As much as we hate to see lawn disappear,
Yeah.
but, right, that's kind of where we're
Oh,
going.
yeah, we're fine. I mean, again,
we can get to the bottom of that pretty quick.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why
we're, again, I'm here to do whatever the suggestions are. We're not, I want to obviously clean the site, make it look beautiful. We're not, I own the property, so it's not, whatever makes it look nicer, and we
Okay.
want to dedicate the
Now-
dumpsters and
Now, it
clean
would
it.
help you if we proceeded with a fit-out permit, because you have X amount of work, right? So I think to try to work with the gentleman, we could, as a step, issue the fit-out permit so he can get his contractor working, so he doesn't then run into that delay.
Correct.
But meanwhile, there's no CO until we get our plan and we're at least comfortable what kind of improvements are going to be made. But if that
makes
helps
sense.
you, I think we could at least get the
Okay.
fit-out going.
You may have been late, but you were worth waiting for. That's
Thank you.
good, that's a great idea.
So I would have to obviously get a engineer and apply and get, okay, during the fit-out.
No, the fit-out is one permit that will issue from the building department. That gets your contractor inside. doing
Start
that
fixing it
work.
and building it.
Meanwhile, you need to have an engineer or yourself, if you're competent, to draw the site plan, survey, know where everything is and
Yeah.
where we're going to place everything.
Yeah, I would-
Those two things can be going
At the same
concurrently.
time, and then submit it to first.
Yes.
Now, can I ask you, Scott, to meet me on site and just brainstorm what you think, and then I'll draw it out?
I'm not going to design it for you. I
No,
mean,
no, not that. I have the ideas. I just want to make sure, because I want to please, I want to make sure everybody's happy with, in the interest of time, coming back and submitting it.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think we need to know where the property lines are.
Sure.
Where the right-of-way is. I think you need to get it laid out on paper. From that point, we can go out and see how it fits and make whatever adjustments that are
Are
necessary,
you
but
proposing any signage?
There was current signage there for the awning store. So what happened was, it used to be a party rental center where they rented tents and all that stuff. That was a party rental center for, I think, 5-6 years. And then the awning store came in, and they were there for quite some time. And I think there's no signs there now because I think the awning store took it down, but there was 3 signs from what I saw. There was one on the left side of the door, there was one on top of the building, and then there's one on the actual awning. So really, we were
They were
gonna.
all on the building?
Yeah, and I took a picture of it. I could kind of show it to you.
That's, okay, and you're
We'll work that out.
proposing
That's-
any
that's
freestanding, because that would have to be, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is if there's anything on freestanding sign that you'd be proposing, you need to just show that on the
Yeah,
site plan.
yeah,
Okay.
and I would just propose where the other sign was on the building and just on the actual awning.
Great.
That's it.
So no monument sign itself.
No freestanding sign on the road or anything like that. Just the actual awning where it says the name, and then on the left side of the building, there's a blank space where the original sign was.
The awning name doesn't count towards the sign square footage, right? He can have it on the awning, that doesn't count, okay.
So I'll go over the list again, the things that need to go on the site plan that I wrote down. Circulation, and you need to provide a place for a drop-off.
Dave, it's usually a single
And
axle.
some sort of fire
tractor trailer.
access or whatever you're gonna have to show
The only-
how that would work. And then
Short one.
you're gonna show a handicap space, you're gonna show enclosed dumpster, you're gonna show land bank parking, and any location where there might be signage.
Right, because obviously we don't want to put the dumpster where the land bank parking is going to be. We
Correct.
want to place it such that,
Right, so you just need to think about where you're placing everything on the site.
Yeah, I was going to add to that the channeling and the, at least address what's going to happen relative to traffic,
that drop off and hand.
relative to coming in that front drive-through.
Yep, and fire.
Although we were talking about the potential for a drive-through liquor store, that would be, just a little joke. But
Drive-through.
anyway, okay.
They only have that in the south.
Okay, in return for, we have the fit-up permit and say 75% capacity for a 6-month period, or?
No, I think if you don't mind, I'd like to do the fit-up permit. How long is it going to take you to perform that work? You said 2 months?
Within, because what's going to happen is,
I'd like to come back at the end of his fit-out and touch base again and see what progress we made. I don't want to come back in 6 months. I'd like to come back in 2 months.
Okay, fit up for 2 months.
but if, and again, I apologize, I don't want to, so say the fit-up permit, we're done, we're not allowed to open unless we go through?
What we're saying is we're going to issue the fit-up permit.
Yes.
You're going to come back in 2 months with plans. We will have met. It'll be before the board, hopefully to get some kind of approval or good feedback on that.
Okay,
And at that point, we can decide whether we're going to do a temporary or you need another month, but
Okay.
we'll decide.
perfect, that
I'm
sounds
not
good.
going to give you a blank check, so to speak.
That'll
right?
Yeah,
put
yeah.
you into
So-
September.
So let me ask a question. I mean, that says the store does not open in 2 months.
Right.
I don't think they can. 'cause
But
they're
he's
not
got
even-
till November, so I mean, we'll be well on the way to getting there.
He's got construction that he has to have done.
He's got construction.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So he should return in September.
Or whenever, or as soon
Yes.
as you can get a
The
plan.
latest date in September would be perfect for us, because this way I could get the contractor in there and do whatever he's got to do.
You can apply for that fit-out permit tomorrow.
I already did.
Okay.
And,
So we'll move that along.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was our first step.
Because
'cause
you
I-
already got your ARB, so,
Yeah, that was done,
okay.
so.
So you come back with your plans and, or
September.
some
Back with
idea.
a site plan.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll get a hold of the engineer, and we'll start working on that simultaneously with,
And we can meet prior to September to try to make sure that you've got the best plan possible come September. But
Yeah.
that burden's on you to get those plans going.
yeah.
The sooner you get them going, the sooner we can comment
Yeah.
on that.
The only concern is, is what I have is, my brother's very limited on funds with regards to the build-out, and he needs a ton of money for inventory and all this stuff, so I just don't, I'm hoping it doesn't get to a point when he goes in front of the board that it just something else comes up, and then you got, I don't know, it just
A
gets,
nice store. sitting-
Start with a pencil sketch before you hire a draftsman or whatever, if you want,
Yeah.
You can keep it simple to get started.
yeah. That's,
Okay, so you don't have to do it twice
yeah.
or 3 times.
I make a suggestion, if you're looking at, I'm not saying dictating that you should, but if you're looking at channelization, you might want to touch bases with the county. I think online they have, their standards, what the width is, the curbing, et cetera. And also
Typically with the
DOT.
county
So at
and
least you'll have an
state
idea.
be involved agencies on this?
Yep.
Well, if
So
he's,
what
if
kinda-
he's altering the access
So at least you'll have
at
an
all,
idea of
it would be
what.
county and state.
questions or comments?
I don't want to alter the access
you
because I
should
know that
invite
would
him
trigger
back
the
for
county,
September
Scott.
19th.
So I'm thinking whatever's local, whatever's there now,
given a lot
because
of
there is a
directions.
patch of grass and there's something in the
Come back
front.
with
I just don't know if
Site
what's there now really works for the
Fit up in
use
the
you're
meantime.
intending. I don't know, and we may
We're not
want to
really
get some
approving
county
anything
feedback.
tonight.
It's a bit
No, we're not
dangerous because you're at a corner and you've got 2 major roads coming together and you have people that can kind of do whatever they want here.
That's the problem, you're in a tight
Yeah.
spot right there.
But there's, I haven't done the measurements, but it's possible you actually might even be able to get parking if you channelize a little bit. So you might even be able to get parking without going additional spaces here. So it actually might help you out
My
to do
guess is
that.
the county would probably want to try to extend that island.
And move them
get
away
that-
from the
and
intersection.
move it away from the intersection.
Yeah, so they
right
might
there.
want to bring you
That's
in
what they're
here.
gonna be looking at.
They might want to bring you in here, maybe.
Right, but you do have that room to the right to work with.
But then you could create some sort of circulation by,
Okay, so, I think the motion before us is to issue a fit-up permit with the understanding the applicant will return on or about September 19th, 2 months from now, with a site plan that addresses site circulation, channeling, handicap parking,
And banking.
land bank, explores either parking behind that could be land banked and/or the drive through the front of the property on 82. Delivery spaces, fire access, and addresses the dumpsters, enclosed dumpsters.
You do have a current survey. When you bought the property, did you get a current survey done?
I think there is a survey, yeah.
Because, I mean, that would be your starting point to, we could work, you know, we could
Yeah.
work with that.
Okay, do I have a,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay, see you in 2 months.
Yeah, so I'll wait to get the phone call for the fit-up permit, and then,
Yeah, we'll go ahead with that.
okay, and then I'll hopefully be back in September 19th.
Okay, good stuff. Good luck.
All right, thank you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. You too. Okay, that was the last item on our agenda. Do we have anything else that anybody wants to talk about? And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Look at that. That was
Thank you.
a-